Welcome, Scribes, to my tiny desk tour. This is a little bit of a different video because I really wanted to go through how living in a tiny space I can still really optimize it and how very important it is to have a space that is yours to create and to write in. So today we're going to take a little tour of my tiny desk and see what I've got here that actually helps me focus and helps me stay determined in writing every day. So some of you have seen this really old first starting out video where I was moving to California. Now when I moved out here, I went into a very tiny space and I did not have a desk at all. I actually had these small side tables that were just for putting things on, and that was pretty much it. I didn't have a desk and I didn't really see a need for one. I used to write right on my bed as I watched TV. Well, I realized that was terrible for me. I started to figure out that I needed to work on productivity, and voila, I got a desk to handle all that for me. And then I started to notice that sitting for long periods of time and actually having to write for more than maybe 5 minutes was going to take a toll on quite a lot of different things. As you see here, I do have a second monitor. It's a lifesaver. It helps me have a higher elevated monitor for me to look at, and it is adjustable. You can also turn it in different types of formatting, so whether I want it vertical or I want it just to be flat down the way that I have it now in a landscape position, I can work with that. It's also sitting on a little base. This gives me a lot more space to put things. It gives me a lot of space to actually place items underneath it. I've created underneath here a small bookshelf because I needed a space to put my books without creating shelving on the walls and putting, additional holes in the walls. When I have my book collection here, it is only the books that I am currently reading or working on and things that I am already prepping for ahead of time. So I do have my Writing is Rewriting book to go back to reference, and I also do have my story analysis book from a class that I previously took last semester. So those are books that I'm still working with, and I do have them on that shelf. Anything else that I'm not using, I am putting that away either in suitcases or storage under my bed, or I am actually giving them to tiny free libraries across the way. They do have one set up at my local Starbucks that I do like to donate books to. So that's how I kind of keep that tiny library organized, and I only leave this desk for things that I need. So underneath, of course, this little area here, I also do have just a few items that I use pretty frequently. I've got my little tiny Google Home, which I use mostly on weekends because my work from home job does not allow me to use these. They do record you sometimes in the background. And so these devices, you should be aware if you're working from home with something that maybe you need more security for. These things sometimes do pick up sound and record it, and so yeah. So I do keep it off weekdays, and then weekends I have this on, and this is my speaker so I can listen to music, my playlists, and get into that writing mood. I also utilize that space just for some of my pin collection, and that's mostly because I like to have things in my space that make me feel happy and make me feel and be reminded of story and just equate to happiness for me. So make sure to decorate your space. Make sure to keep it nice and clean so that you can see all these objects that bring you that joy that you're looking for. We want to talk Marie Kondo, that spark joy for you, and make sure that they actually flow and make sense. I don't have a ton of pieces here. I have a large collection, so I only switch them out for pieces that I know for this month or for this moment are going to really inspire me. For instance, right now I do have my Hamilton pin because Hamilton brings me so much joy and reminds me that I need to write like I'm running out of time. Also for the moment, because I did make my very first enamel pin in a pin class that I took, I do have another thing that I did not get to show off, but this I did get to make this pin recently, and so this one is on my desk, and it does bring me joy, mostly because I created the backing card on Canva, and I created the actual enamel pin on Procreate, so I had so much fun. And of course it's writing inspired, a manga panel, and so that brings me immense joy. Okay, now that I've shown off a bit, let's keep going. Behind me, I do have my laptop that is also sitting on a stand. This stand is collapsible, so I can take it with me if I go back home to Florida and I just want to have something to rise my laptop up so that I don't crick my neck down for however long that I'm writing. It's really important to keep yourself ergonomic as possible, because you're going to be sitting there for quite a while and you don't want to not go back to writing because you've got these aches and pains. And even at my age, it still does catch up to you if you do it for long periods of time. I mean, we all know that text neck is a real thing. So I will link this down below. I will link the stand down below also. I did get it on Amazon and it was about $45 and it fluctuates. Sometimes there's a coupon, which is awesome. I think I got it during Prime Day, so it may have been more like $30, but I'm not 100% sure. I do also have a nice little storage space in this tiny desk. This desk is a Mickey desk from IKEA. Fantastic price. I think it was probably about $60. Space was about 29 inches from the wall. Behind my laptop, I do have my PlayStation, which I do connect to this monitor, and I will play my video games here sometimes. And that's not because I don't have a TV, it's just because it actually makes it easy if I would like to stream from here, and it also makes it easy if I'd like to play alongside my boyfriend, who also plays on the main TV. And so that is all in this space, so it just makes sense to have it hiding right behind there because I don't go on it often. I play a little bit more computer games, and so I do keep it in this small space. My space is set up in a way that when I come to it, I can easily just start to write. I have everything here that I need, so all of this stuff is really important in my little ecosystem to keep me really motivated. Since my organization is not the best and my focus is not the best, I have to work very hard to keep my space focused and very tightened. So I do like to, at the end of the week, go through things and make sure I throw out what I don't need. I try my best instead to use digital apps instead of notebooks like I used to do, so that I can actually free up all this space. Now, before I had this space all set up for me, I did have a lot of space outside in our sort of entryway kitchen area, and I did used to write there. And it was the perfect space until it sort of wasn't, because that's where I cook. In the space where I have my desk now, I feel very connected because I can see right outside. I have a lot of daylight and it keeps me brightened and awake and alert and really ready to get started on what I'm working on. At night, everything pretty much stays about the same here. I close down my laptop lid, I disconnect the HDMI from my secondary monitor, and everything can sit just right where it is. I don't have to shuffle anything around. The only time I will shuffle this place around would be if I had work. And I have just one thing to swap out, which is just the laptop. And I can go into working without having to clear a mess, clear an area, and sit down and formulate all of what I'm going to do for the day. If you can't find a space like that in your house, it's amazing to go outdoors and find a spot to work, maybe a park or bench, and sit and do whatever kind of writing that you do or whatever kind of work that you do, and maybe even head to a coffee shop. Thanks for joining me on this tiny desk tour. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions about it, place it down below. I would love to chat with you about your space and how you've set yours up, and if you have any tips for anyone, of course, always feel free to leave them down below. And I will see you on the next one, Scribes.